Okay, so we have now added a new slide, and that slide under layouts is titled comparison. Notice when it's highlighted. And the difference between this and the two content is that there is a title placeholder, a content placeholder, and then two other content placeholders. Now, these little content placeholders here are like your titles for your for your bigger content boxes, okay? Notice that in order to get the two lines, you need to press enter. So we're going to select in to the after exercising box, and our insertion point is after the colon. If we press enter, notice that it begins a new paragraph in that same text box or placeholder. We're going to insert our information there, deselect, and it's all in one thing. Now, if you are wanting to add information in this text box and then move down to this one, you do not want to press enter. You want to select into this box and then reselect into this box when you are done. Now, keep in mind that the theme that we selected earlier at the very beginning of our presentation can be changed throughout. So if we are in the middle of our presentation and we're like, you know what, let's go ahead and change our theme. We're going to go to the Design tab, and we're going to go to, let's go ahead and select this one. We can go ahead and click our arrow, and we can look through the box, but we're going to go ahead and select this one. Notice what it does and how it changes everything. It kind of changes the layout, kind of changes the situation. Notice that these were more to the left. Now they are right aligned. Okay? Now after changing our theme, we're going to go over here to the variances, and we're just going to highlight a couple and kind of see which one we want. Let's go ahead and choose blue. I think that would be better. So notice that when you change your themes, then you can go over to your variants and change those as well in the middle of your presentation.
Okay, there are two ways to add an image. We have chosen slide 4 with the two placeholders. We can go to Insert, and under the Images groups, we have Pictures where you can find a picture on your computer, or you can go to Online Pictures. When you click, a search bar for Bing will then appear, and then you can go in and search for the picture or image that you would like to select and put into your PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so now we want to look up water bottles. Click enter, and then we are going to select an image that we would like. So we're going to choose that one, click insert, and notice that it puts it in our content placeholder. Now, there are three ways to resize a photograph. Using these little squares on the side, when you choose a corner, whether it's the top left or right or bottom left or right, those will size your picture proportionally. Notice how it stays the same, it just makes it bigger and smaller. Now, the one at the top, the one at the bottom, left and right, if you were to take the right and move it towards the left, notice that it would shrink the image and make the bottle smaller, as well as when you take the top and shrink it down. Now, this is called non-proportional when you do this. Now, when you were to take this, that is proportional because it stays the same. Now, if we were to take this photograph and we want to move it around, notice that we have these little dotted lines everywhere. Those are called guides. Those are basically helping us know where to place our picture and it be lined up. Where the dotted line is now under keep replenishing fluid levels, it basically shows the top of that placeholder. See, if we were to click, notice that the image is now lined up with that placeholder. So the guides are there to kind of help you maneuver around and figure out where you would like your image. If you are wanting to place an image into your placeholder, of course you can go through the insert as we discussed just moments ago, or you guys can go to the pictures down here. These are your shortcut menus. So you have pictures, and then you also have online pictures. It brings up the same information. Click, choose, and then it will insert just as you did using the insert button. Okay, so now we are going to add a transition. Basically, a transition is a pretty professional way to move from slide 1 to slide 2 to slide 3 to slide 4 and so on. So we are going to choose to select slide 2 and we are going to put a transition. So that means we want to go to the transition tab next to design, and in the transition to slide groups we are able to click on the more button and choose which one we would like to see. Now, notice that this is the groups. For example, this is when the slide is exiting. What do you want the slide to do when you exit? This is something you want the slide to do when they are entering. Fracture. Notice that it will break, kind of break it, okay? So, in order to view, we are going to go to slide 1, do your presentation, or click F5. And to manually go to the next on your presentation, you want to click the right arrow to go forward and left arrow to go back. Notice that it puts the fracture transition into effect. Then we want to go to right. Notice that we had no transition at all, so it just abruptly went into the next slide. Now, notice down here at the bottom, when you put your cursor and you just hover over, you have the back arrow, you have the forward arrow, and you have different options to choose from. Zoom, things like that. The three dots, if you were to click, gives you a shortcut menu to where you can end the show, or you can push a shortcut key, which is ESC, in order to exit out of your presentation mode. So you are able to click back and forth manually. You are able to use your keyboard many different ways to go through your slides. Now, this little pin, you can provide a laser pointer, a pin, a highlighter. So let's go to the laser pointer. Notice what it does to your cursor, and it allows you to go through your presentation and kind of highlight aspects of that, so that way your prisoners know where your cursor's at, what you want to emphasize, and things like that. Okay, there are several ways to view your presentation. So if we go to the View tab and click, under Presentation Views we have Normal, Outline View, Slide Sorter, Notes Page, Reading View. So as we are now, it defaults to your normal view. If we go to Outline View, notice that it makes the slide smaller and it basically displays what you have written on it. Your sorter shows your slides in alignment. Now, look, if we were to click on slide 4 and move it to slide 2, notice that everything shifts to the right and moves in a horizontal line. Notes page. When you add notes to a PowerPoint, it will show up in this section. Or you can go to Notes page and go ahead and begin typing that information here. Reading view. Basically kind of looks like your presentation view, but it's called a reading view. In order to exit out of here, you can press Exit on your keyboard, or ESC. Also, when you go down to the bottom, you have your normal view. You have your slide sorter view, as well as your reading view. Then over here you have slideshow. So you are able to click and it automatically goes into slideshow, where you can press your left and right arrow to guide your way through your presentation. To escape, press the ESC button on your keyboard. Another way to have your presentation go into presentation mode, there is a button up at the top by your quick access toolbar where you save, undo, and redo, and it says start from beginning. You can click F5 to begin your presentation. You can click here or you can click down below. Click exit to start over. Okay, so we are going to go to slide 2, and down at the bottom notice that I had to get the little arrow going vertically, and I had to click and drag. Right here is where you can add notes to your presentation. These notes are something that only the presenter will be able to view and go over when you are presenting your presentation. Now, if you were to print this out, so we are going to go to File. When you go to Print, you have the option to print, print all slides, full page slides, and the color. So right now we are going to full page slides and we are going to click on the arrow. Now notice that we have different ways to print. We can print with our notes page, our outline. We can print, one slide on one sheet. We can print two slides on one sheet. And notice that when we get to 3 slides, it provides you with lines. Notice that's how the preview will be when you print it out on your piece of paper. And this one's kind of more for notes that your presenters are able to print out and use kind of like as handouts for them to follow along with you and write down notes as you go. You notice that you can go up to 9 slides onto one page. Unfortunately, we only have 4, but those are the options that you have to choose from. You can also go to color and print it in color, grayscale, or pure black and white. You can also choose how many copies you want of your presentation, so that way you can hand it to your audience as handouts. Now we are going to look at how to change the document properties. Now, just like in Word, we are going to go to the File tab. Notice that the File tab is where you start a new presentation, you open, save, print, share, and so on and so on. Now, over to the right of the info, you have properties, and it basically shows you the information you have here, who the author is, who last modified it, and things like that. Now, certain aspects that you are able to edit directly into the properties area. For your title, add a tag, add a category. Now, if you were to click the arrow, you can show document panel or advanced properties. Most will use the show document panel. When we select that, notice that a drop down menu will appear to where you can edit your document properties, the author, the title, so on and so on. In order to exit out of this, there is an X to close the information panel. Click and you will go back to your editing presentation mode.